What's up, guys? Got a quick video changing out the front brakes on my 2014 Kawasaki Vaquero ABS. So that's the D model because it's ABS. It should be the exact same for the non-ABS model for one change, which will be the torque value of the caliper. So you're going to do this for both sides. I'm just going to show you one side because it's the same. But we'll get to it. And I'm sorry about the shakiness. I don't have enough room to get my good camera in here. So what we're going to be doing first, this is your caliper. These are the two caliper mounting bolts. This is the pad keeper screw. And then when I pull the caliper off, you'll see the two spring retainer screws. So the first thing you do before you break the torque on these is to break the torque on this. And this is, it's all metric, obviously. I believe that, oh, of course it was in there. It is a 5mm. So break the torque loose on that. Then you'll break the torque loose on the two mounting bolts. Caliper fall out. Well, you might have to pull it a little bit. And there are the two spring screws right there and right there. You will use a 3mm to loosen these up, and that's going to make putting the new pads in easier. So you can go ahead and take out the pad retaining screw. And with your spring released and the, well, actually, let me back up. What'll happen now is you'll see your pistons will be pressed out. So with the old pads in there, you can either use a tool, or what I do, since I'm not putting the old pads back in, is I'll just take a pry bar and pry on the inside of the bad pads. That way it's not damaging anything. Maybe twist it, and that'll push the pistons back into the caliper. And you can take your old pads out, and you can see from that I was just about a blonde one away. Nice and glazed up, so you can see how my pry bar chewed into it. But I'm not going to clean all this because I've got a whole lot of dirty riding to do. But you get your new pads. These are Voller VMFA 158. Vulcan 1700 ABS front. VMFA 158. So what I'll do before I open them is I'll take the old pad and just double check, you know, make sure everything matches up, just in case, because you have a tendency of getting bad parts from websites. But now you take your pad, you see the little hole for the mount, or for the retaining screw. Go ahead and slide one in. And then slide the opposite one in. Of course, this side will be on the piston. You could put some silencing goo on there. Don't use copper grease or silver grease or grease. There is a very specific goo that you would put on here. I don't usually use it on my bikes. I'd use it on cars, but it's an option. I don't really recommend it, but you know, as you do, you slide it in there so the live portion of the pads are touching each other. And you take your pad pin, thread that back down in there. I'm not really tightening it quite yet, but now you can tighten your spring screws. Okay, sorry about that. Spring screws are tightened. Now you're going to put your caliper back on. So you want to separate your pads. It's very important that you separate the pads. This caliper you wouldn't be able to screw it up, but in the past I accidentally did not sandwich the rotor with the pads, and that caused a whole lot of damage. So, but you're going to want to open those up. The rotor will go in between the two. Of course, I'll have to put you back down for this. Okay, 2 caliper mounting bolts going in. Of course, I forgot to mention, but you'll have found out by now, it was a 12 millimeter. Oh, come on, 12 millimeter. Okay, then now someone's probably gonna be like, you need to use Loctite. Yeah, but I check my torque pretty regularly on my brakes, so we're gonna go ahead and torque them down to, what are we at here, 28 foot-pounds, or I'm sorry, 18. It's 18 foot-pounds. Doesn't seem like much, but 18 foot-pounds for the ABS. So that's the D model, ABS model. The non-ABS model, you're going to be looking at 25 foot-pounds. And then after you're done with that, you want to actually tighten the pin. I'll have to look up a torque value, but I don't have the correct size socket Allen guy, so click. Of course, all your torque values will be in your service manual. And after you're done with that, last step, and the one you don't want to forget about, I like to do this after each pad, so I'll do the one side and then pump the brake up, and then do the other side and then pump the brake up. If you don't pump it up, you might overflow the reservoir. Of course, it's sealed, so I don't know how much of an issue that would be, but go ahead and squeeze it till it's good and tight, and that's it. Depending on how many miles you have, now might be an advantageous time to swap out your brake fluid, but I'm going to do that this winter. I might do another video, but it's pretty easy. What you're going to do is pop open the cap on the reservoir, suck out all the old fluid, and then replace it with new fluid. On the ABS model, I'll have to check, but I don't think this one is as complicated as some of the other units I've worked on, so you should just have to do the pump up, hold, break your bleeder screw loose with a tube, and just keep on doing that, replacing your fluid as necessary, just like a car. There's probably a million videos on how to do that. So, but that's it, you guys. Simple, easy. If I wasn't fumbling one hand with the phone, you could probably knock it out in 10-15 minutes. Of course, after you change them, you'll want to do a scrub in. There's varying opinions on how to do that. The manual probably even tells you how. I've always just ridden not super aggressively, so not up for me. I knock off about 80% on you know, how hard I want to hit the brakes. Try and not get in a position where you need to do an emergency stop right away, because you want the pads to take a new set with the rotors. But yeah, after a couple hundred miles, then it's, you know, good to go. Some guys will say slam on them right from the get-go. I don't believe in that, so I guess it is what it is. But yeah, good luck with it, guys. Simple and easy.